Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Your Health. My name is Museo. Down syndrome is the most common and naturally occurring chromosomal condition, the largest single cause of intellectual disability. An estimated 6,000 children are born with Down syndrome, and this is worldwide, which is about 1 in every 1,000 babies born. It is therefore vital to raise awareness and dispel myths that surround Down syndrome and to change society's ideas of prejudice that they might have. On this episode, once again, we talk about Down syndrome and how children can be helped to lead a normal life. Our guest, we have Eunice, who is a parent of a child born with Down syndrome. And also we have Dr. Martha Gatumbu, who is a pediatrician here in Nairobi. And next to me is a gentleman. I will allow him to introduce himself. Hi, welcome. Tell us your name.
Hi, my name is Rono.
Rono. Welcome to the show. It's good to have you today. Okay, and welcome to the show. Dr. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We are talking about Down syndrome. Maybe we can begin. We've seen statistics globally, but what is the burden of Down syndrome here in Kenya?
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Purity, for having me on the show. So we've talked about the incidence of Down syndrome being 1 in 600 to 1,000 live births. Unfortunately, in Kenya, we don't have the exact number of persons with Down syndrome.
And it's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
Why is this so?
I think probably it's not captured properly when doing the census. And there has probably been a lack of awareness on the diagnosis, on how to make a diagnosis of children with Down syndrome. So we found that there are some who are not diagnosed immediately they are born, and they are caught up when they are much older. So there is missing data on the actual numbers. But we are seeing more and more children being born with Down syndrome. In the past, we used to associate it with mothers older than 35 years, but even now, younger women, even under 35s, are still getting babies with Down syndrome. So we need to create more awareness and more inclusivity so that they can be accounted for. Yeah.
And March 21st, every single year, the world usually the global, countries join hands to make awareness about Down syndrome. It's captured by the World Health Organization as, is it a disease, a condition of concern? But again, we don't have data here in Kenya. Does this mean that the burden is unknown, and also addressing stigma may not even be anywhere in the picture?
Yes. Yeah. I'd say over the last maybe 10 years, there's been a lot more awareness being created around Down syndrome. There are more and more parent support groups, which Mrs. Koros will talk about. And even in our training in pediatrics, it's been emphasized more and more. And then because there are more advances in medical technologies, these children are living for even longer. Their life expectancy is actually 60 years old. So that's why even more information is coming out right now, because they are living longer than they used to in the past. Yeah.
Okay. And we'll be coming back to you shortly, especially to tell us what Down syndrome is. Okay. But Eunice, once again, welcome to the show. It's really great to have you this evening. Dr. is mentioning that we don't have actual data here in Kenya. When you had your child and realized the child was different from the others, I assume you have other children older than him. Did you know it was Down syndrome?
Fortunately for me, the doctor told me the first day, the day of birth. And unfortunately, there was no information about Down syndrome. Even as a mother, I could not get any information, and the doctors could not even tell me more than having the child has Down syndrome. So I sought to find out what it is, but there was no information given that at the time he was born, the information like the internet that we have today was not well developed at that time. So I went to the libraries, but I could not get any information that was that could explain the condition.
So the doctor just told you the child has Down syndrome, and that was all?
And that was all, yes. Yeah.
So there was a lot of dilemma on how you are going to take care of him, what next, a lot of questions you had.
Yes, yeah. The only thing that the doctor said was you should start occupational therapy.
Yeah.
So occupational therapy we did for some time, but I was not understanding still. I needed some information to understand why I'm doing it.
So Daktari, what is Down syndrome? Is it a disease? Is it a condition? What is it?
Okay.
Yeah.
So we define it as a genetic condition
Yeah.
whereby they have an extra chromosome 21. So typically in our body we have 23 pairs of chromosomes. So that makes a total of 46 chromosomes, including your sex chromosomes, the XY or XX if you're female. But in Down syndrome, what happens in the position 21, instead of having 2 chromosomes, they have 3. So that means they have a total of 47 chromosomes instead of the 46. So these chromosomes are found within the cells. All the cells of your body have a nucleus in the center that has the chromosomes, and the chromosomes are what house the genes. So genes are what code for proteins that help in cellular function. So that's the very basic unit of your body. Each of us has all those cells, and in each cell there's a nucleus that has the chromosomes. So what happens in Down syndrome, because of having that extra chromosome, that means that there's an abnormal protein formation that happens, and that's why with Down syndrome it tends to affect all the systems of the body.
That brings me to this question, Eunice. Maybe when did you, at what age were you when you were having him, and how many years back are we talking about? First, you can answer that.
Okay, I must say I was still young. I was 30 years old.
Yeah.
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 And that was how many years back?
24 years.
So he's 24 years old?
Yes, he is.
Oh, okay.
He turned 24 in January this year.
Right.
Yeah.
So when the doctors told you that your child is different at birth, throughout the pregnancy you didn't know?
I didn't know. It was a very normal pregnancy.
Yeah.
More even comfortable than the other child I had before. Yeah.
So now the child is born and the doctors have realized that it's different, and they have told you the child is going to be different. As a parent, how did that make you feel?
The first reaction was that of shock, and many questions ran through my mind and the mind of the people concerned. How are we going to tell the people that this child is different, and how are they going to react? I think that was the first reaction of shock. And I remember thinking about when they say that the child will develop slowly. I had seen this condition, dwarfism, and I imagined that it would be like that.
Yeah.
Yes, and you know, fear gripped on me, and it was very difficult. It was a difficult moment. Yeah.
But your family was supportive, your spouse?
Yes, my spouse was very supportive, and that is how we managed it. I think the first management is working together as a family, yeah, and accepting this child.
Doctor, you mentioned that it's usually as a result of having an extra chromosome, okay? And so it affects most of the body parts of a child. So what are some of the symptoms of Down syndrome?
There are certain characteristic features that tell us that the child has Down syndrome. So for example, like they have upward slanting eyes and a flat facial profile. So like a flat nose, a flat face, upward slanted eyes. Then they tend to be hypotonic, meaning that when you hold the baby, they feel a bit floppy or limp. Yeah. They don't have good muscle tone. Then on their palms, there's a crease that runs horizontally called a simian crease, which is mostly very characteristic for children with Downs. And then Also their toes, we also examine and we see there's increased spacing between the first and the second toe.
Yeah.
So basically, that's how we'd first physically make that diagnosis. But the definitive way of diagnosing Down syndrome is by doing a genetic test called karyotyping. So basically what karyotyping does is that it maps out all the chromosomes in your body, and once they've mapped it out, you'll be able to detect an extra chromosome at position 21.
Eunice, tell us now, the journey of managing your son began. How has it been like? Yeah.
Initially, it was very difficult. But as I mentioned, after accepting, the journey became a little more easier. Accepting the child for who he is, knowing what to expect about the child. For example, knowing that the child may not grow like the other children, may not speak at the time the others would do, so that time we were patiently waiting rather than worrying. Yeah, so it reduced the worries after knowing that this child is different and will develop differently from the other children.
Yeah.
So the waiting was difficult. I remember he started after 2 years, 4 months is when he made his first step. And for us, that was a real celebration.
Yeah.
After waiting for that long, I remember we even marked it on the, in those moments where you wait, it's like a movie, you know, the slow motion when you're finishing a movie, and you don't want to look at that situation because you think it will be reversed. Yeah, so it was after waiting patiently, he managed to work. So the second hurdle was now speaking. We were told language is difficult, but we, as a family, we agreed that, as I said earlier, that we will treat him normally. So we started speaking to him like we speak to the other child. We tell him to say what he wants, insisting what he wants, and he could say one word, and we enhance on that one. So that was still a celebration. We celebrated every stage of life. Yeah, we sat down and agreed that way as a family. And that made a difference. Yeah, because he started, I think it reached a point where he was not able to speak. I think stammering, as you've seen. And he could just hold your arm and tell you, I want this. Not saying, I want this, showing you. We insisted, no, until you say, we are not going to give you. So he struggled. Say this, the way you train a child. But what helped most is that when he went to school, because we were wondering where to take him to school. Now he has turned 4, and going around to look for schools, given that we knew he's independent, the way we had trained him, and being taken to a special school also would retard the development that was made at home. So it was very difficult. Also, that was the second hurdle of looking for a school. We went around all the schools. Unfortunately, most of the schools who accommodate such children are far. Always they are very far. And we managed to get one that had integration, because that's what we needed. And the first time he joined that school, we didn't know any parent at that moment. At 4 years, we didn't know any parent who has a child with Down syndrome. But when he went to school, one Saturday, he came with one Friday, he came with a letter that wrote, I think a parent also noticed that this child has Down syndrome, inviting us to join now Down Syndrome Society was beginning then at Gertrude's. So we couldn't wait to get to Saturday to see other parents and be able to share.
Doc, quickly take us through, what should parents expect? Maybe you have a child who has Down syndrome, and like Eunice was saying, at 2.5 years, and he's making his first step, and it was a real celebration. So what should parents expect so that they are not impatient? Why is my child not walking? Why is my child not speaking? Maybe you can take us through that.
Parents need to be guided and told to expect this. They need to be told, you may have other children who start at 6 months, which is normal, but your baby may sit at 9 months or even a year. They may not start walking at 1 year, they may walk at 2 years. So what needs to be really emphasized is to start occupational and physiotherapy early. That's basically just the treatment we do for children with delayed milestones. And if it started early, if as early as even 2 months of life, the duration at which they'll start their milestones peaks.
What did you do so that you can ensure your child is independent? And when we talk about independence, what does he do on his own maybe? How can we define this for his case?
Okay, the first thing we did was to incorporate him in every activity at home.
Yeah.
Like, for example, maybe starting with praying. So we gave him to pray for food every day, his duty, writing, and until he was able to get that, and he knew that he would do that. And then even serving, maybe setting the table. Yeah, so they had a duty with the brother. So we show him, and then he's able to do. And then another important thing is that normally we fear about maybe electric gadgets on these children. What we did, every time we purchase a new gadget, we teach him the right way. Yeah, for example, for a microwave, tell him use this kind of cup or a plate, but not this one.
Yeah.
And when he gets it right the first time, that is it. Even if somebody comes, you will not convince him. So lighting lighting the gas, yeah, as the doctor has mentioned, you realize the fingers are quite, it's difficult to hold at times. So it became a hurdle for some time. So later we got a lighter and showed him how to put, and so he uses it alone, for a long time.
He's actually smiling.
Yes, yeah. And then also like basic things like when he was of age, I taught him how to warm his food, how to he makes his own tea. And then later I told him, you are a man. Now you ensure that all the curtains are at the right time, are drawn, and also closing the door. That is his work.
Yeah.
At night, by 9 o'clock, he ensures that all the doors are locked.
Yeah.
So we gave him duties and taught him how to do, and consistently. Yeah. And another thing in terms of discipline also, we disciplined him like any other person, ensuring that he understands why maybe you are scolding him. Yeah, you teach him the right thing, and then tell him why you are tough at that point in time.
Yeah.
So he understands all that. Yeah, but as a parent, you need to really be consistent. Yeah, we were very consistent on that. Yeah, behavior modification, we put our foot down and do the right thing.
Because sometimes he can be naughty.
Yes, yeah. I remember maybe one time we got some neighbors, and having taught him the right language, this time he comes home and he tells everybody, chinga wewe, and we look at one another and it's, where does this come from? The first thing we did was to have a family meeting on how to undo.
Yeah.
Yes, because you cannot refuse him to go and play outside like with other children.
Maybe quickly you can tell us, Down syndrome, can it be treated, or it's basically what Eunice is talking about, just management?
Yeah. So there is no treatment per se or cure, but you can modify the life of that child, especially by doing physiotherapy and occupational therapy, and giving them functional skills to cope with life. And the most important thing is that these children need to be integrated into normal day-to-day life. Yeah. There's no reason why they can't be shopping attendants or tellers or musicians. They're very good in music.
Or marry and get married. Even
get married. Yeah. They can get married. Unfortunately, they can't have children. The females can have children, but males are infertile, but they can live full and functional lives. Yeah.
Thank you so much once again. Maybe a parting shot on Because we want this to be very positive, that yes, you as a parent, you may have a child with Down syndrome, but it's not the end of the road. Okay, so maybe you can encourage parents out there as we wind up.
Maybe what I would tell parents is to accept the situation.
Yeah.
It is easier to manage when you accept the situation. And I would urge also families to work together in this. Yeah, one person may not be able to manage, but working together, we can manage it. And these children can live a full life.
Yeah.
Ivan is working now.
Oh, you didn't mention that.
He's working now.
Tell us about that.
He's working with a family business. He's able to stitch books. He's able to go alone to work. He earns his own money. Yeah, and we have done investments for him using the same. He knows how to manage the money. Yeah, we have taught him so they can live independent life.
What is his favorite sport, or what does he enjoy doing? We want him to do that for us.
Let him tell us.
Okay, tell us. What's your favorite thing that you love doing?
I love watching.
DJ. He wants to be a DJ.
You DJ. You can do something.
He wants to be a DJ.
You want, so you can sing. Please do sing for us as we wind up.
Dance one minute.
Dance. You can dance.
He does it when he's alone.
Or when you are alone.
Yeah, they tend to really love music.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and even music can be a form of therapy as a way of even teaching them more skills.
Please sing for us, please.
He's shy.
Why? Do something for us then as we wind up, or wind up for us. Do something. Don't be scared. You have the microphone on. You don't want to do anything, but you'll do something next time, right? You promise. What will you do next time?
I love dance.
You will dance. Dance
Nice.
just for seconds now. Then next time we'll dance together.
Next time.
Next time. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rotich, for being here, and all the best with the business. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Eunice, for sparing time to be with us here, Daktari. It's a great pleasure having you here as we make awareness about Down syndrome.
Thank you so much.
Okay, that's where we bring the show to an end. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Purity Museo. I'll see you again next week, same time, God willing. Do enjoy the rest of our programming, and God bless.